everybody. We are back for the All Arsenal review show. This week, we are going to focus solely on the women's season. Obviously, we started doing these shows just after Christmas this year, so we've talked a lot week on week of what's happened since then. But obviously, we're going to go back and look at the season as a whole, get everyone's feedback on it, everyone's memories, favourite goals, all the news that's been happening, contracts, all those types of things, and maybe a little bit into some transfers before the window officially opens. There's a few bits flying around, so we'll get into that as well. But as always, joining me as the co-host tonight, Liam. You made it. How are you?
Yeah, good evening. Yep, just about made it. Not been feeling great this week, but I couldn't miss the last show of the season, could I? Really?
Exactly. Yeah, we've all got a little bit of issues between us. We're not in the best of health, but I think we'll just get each other through it. And Jonesy, nice to see you again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Not too bad. Hope you're well as well. But yeah, all good.
You're good. Lovely stuff. Bez, how are you? You're returning again?
Thanks for having me. Hope you're well as well.
Yeah, no worries at all. And last but not least, my bestie, my gal, Lottie, how are you?
I'm all right. Unfortunately, I joined Leah Volti in the MCL club today, but other than that, I'm alive. Quite happy to be. How are you?
Yeah, all good here, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on as well. As
for
soon as we
having
knew it wasn't a Tuesday, we were like, right, Lottie's coming on.
Brilliant. I love it.
But yeah, we'll sort of head straight into it. Not so much into the summer last year, but more of the announcement that we were going to increase the volume of games at the Emirates, which was up to 5. Obviously, that kicked in the first game of the season at home at the Emirates against Liverpool on the 1st of October. That's how long ago it was now. It's crazy, but yeah, it wasn't the best of starts. Lottie, I'll come to you first as well, because obviously we were there together. We were absolutely buzzing. It'd been a long summer. Got through the World Cup and everything, hadn't we? Waited all the way to October to get to the game, but unfortunately we just weren't there at the day. What did you remember of that game, and what did you think of obviously our performance? Was it more of a sort of hangover from how long, and the Champions League obviously as well? What did you make of it?
Do you know what? Playing Liverpool on the first day of the season is never a good thing for us, ever. It's, if you look back at past scores, it's like, no, we don't play Liverpool first game of the season. We'll always lose it, unfortunately, because I think other factors were related to it. We had a hangover from obviously going out the Champions League, and then you look back at what pre-season we had. There was no pre-season, full stop. I mean, they came back straight from down under and gone straight into the season, and it was just appalling. I mean, obviously, Leah Codina, she was in the final with our England girls, and the Swedes were still playing out there before the final. So were the Aussies, and that's at least 50% of our team. And it fortunately doesn't work like that, and that's why we had a bit of a stalemate until Aston Villa. Unfortunately, I didn't enjoy that Liverpool game at all, but it was just nice to be back.
Yeah, exactly. And Jonesy, just coming to you as well on the start, saying that we were increasing our games to 5 WSL games. I know we've talked about how much we're going into, obviously, this coming season, but just looking back at it then, following the World Cup and the Euro success, how important do you think that Arsenal were to sort of gain advantage on that and get these games in there as quick as possible?
I think it was hugely important, especially for the women's side of the game. The level with the kids now, they love it. A lot of kids prefer to go to women's games just because of the calmer atmosphere and stuff like that. And it's a great way to introduce even like my daughter into football. But yeah, to find out there was 5 games, I was well happy. Obviously, we're from the Euros and stuff like that, and then to just to build on it, the success that we've had over the summer and stuff like that, it's amazing. And obviously, what we're doing now this season as well, coming up, it's going to be great. Not necessarily just for a bigger crowd than that, but good for me as well, because my knee is effed a bit like Lottie's probably as well. So it's a lot closer to go than all the way to Meadow Park. But yeah, and it's good. I can get all of us can go. Me, my missus, and all the kids can all go over there and see the guys. They can experience Emirates Stadium. They can see the girls on the big stage, and that's what you want. That's what you want, especially with them players that we got over there.
Exactly. And I know that one of the last games that we were at, we bumped into Tina and
Yeah.
the children as well,
Yeah.
which was it was so lovely to see them so happy about it as well. But from like Paige's point of view, how important do you think it is for her to be able to not only to Meadow Parks, I know you've been there with her before, but to then go and see this from such a young age as well, that this is what girls do as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hugely. The first thing she said to me, "Why don't we play here all the time?" You know, because she feels in her eyes, and I feel everybody feels they deserve it. They should be in these big stadiums. You know, but the look on her face when they come out, come out with the North London Forever. She sings that constantly every day now. It's actually quite annoying, but I will never tell her off for singing it. But yeah, she loves it, and just seeing her face light up. She's been to the big games. She's over there this season mainly with her mum more than me and my sister. But it's great. She comes in, scarf waving around her head. She have to calm her down for about half an hour, but after that, she's all right. Lex is always playing North London Forever.
Oh, bless her. That's so sweet as well. And Liam, just touching on, obviously, we're sort of building on the back of the success of the Euros, but also then bringing in the likes of Alessia Russo on a nice free transfer from Man United as well. Before the World Cup actually happened, that was already signed, sealed and delivered. How important do you think that was as well to kick off our season, knowing that we pretty much had the team ready to come straight back and kick on?
It's always good to get transfers done early in the window, isn't it? Because obviously you didn't give them a full pre-season. Now, like you said, unfortunately, we had the World Cup, which kind of derailed the whole start of the season, and probably not just for us, but obviously we was a massive part because of the majority of our team that were affected by that. So I was thinking about this earlier on, and when you start looking at the injuries that we had last season coming into this season, how long the girls were out for, they come back, they hadn't had a pre-season behind them. Sometimes you just got to be reflective, ain't you, and just say, do you know what, it has been a pretty hard season in terms of getting these players back and getting them playing football again, which was the most important thing. Obviously, the cup success was a massive success for us at the end of the day, because we've done it. We beat Chelsea again, and we did get some silverware, which I think is a plus. But I do think, like, obviously going into next season, obviously we'll have our better players having a pre-season behind them, and I think it will obviously give Russo obviously a pre-season with our players as well, to kind of obviously embed what kind of system we go next year, and with new players coming in as well, it would just give us a better fighting chance. And I think, as like you said, like when you start looking at that Champions League game, it was just a shit time, weren't it, to be playing that game, and they should have never been playing football like that. They should not have been playing football of that caliber straight after the Euros. It's out of order. It's totally out of order.
Yeah, exactly. And Bez, just coming to you on that as well, the Champions League. I think we've kind of spoken a bit before on how rushed it was and everything, but like Liam said, to have those types of games, and not only just one game, there was one every couple of games, and we had to have won both to then go to the next game so quickly after a major tournament as well, before the pre-season. What did you make of it back then? And were you sort of, can you look back at it, as Liam said again, as more of a, well, actually we probably weren't going to do very well considering the travel and what they've all been doing for the summer, or do you think that we should have maybe sort of stepped up and played a bit better at that time?
No, I don't blame the team. I don't blame the team or the coach and overall the whole prospect of the ladies overall. Just I think the way, as Liam totally says, the way we just have a big major tournament before the poor girls straight into a league/Champions League game, I think it just rushed completely. Fixture organization by the so-called officials was just wrong. How they think they go from a big tournament such as the thing, from down under, bring them back. You know what? You're gonna play Champions League. You think it's a bit soon, isn't it? Even for the men's, it's like at least give them a bit of like maybe a week and a bit, maybe 2 weeks, like a little break to have a little reflection. Get the back at myself back ready. At least physically, emotionally, back now into normal time zone. But I just felt like the whole organization was just totally wrong. Like surely these girls needed some time to, as you say, like come back into their own, form, their own mindset. But just felt it's just too soon for them. The way it was just done, just rushed for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all agree, to be fair. And Lottie, just thinking about the start of the season as well, just want to see what your sort of hopes were for the season at the beginning. What did you sort of want us to achieve by the end of the season? Did anything disappoint you or surprise you along the way?
Thing is, we knew going into the season it was going to be a tricky season with players coming up from ACLs. Thankfully, we got all of them back now and up and running. We've lost one due to loss of contract, but I think the biggest disappointment is letting Viv go. But I can understand if it's a mutual thing from the club and things, because a lot of people have flew off the handle with this, saying, "Oh, the club didn't do anything." But if you actually look at the proper journalists that do look at women's football on a regular basis, you will see that it was a mutual consent. So it's a bit of a tough one with that. Like back at the beginning of the season, I just wanted all my team to be back on that pitch and fit and healthy, and I would have been happy. I kind of expected us to retain the Conti Cup, and we did, beating Chelsea again, which was a great day out in Wolverhampton. But yeah, it's not been a great season, but it hasn't been the worst season we've had.
Yeah, I think it was one of those, like we said, Jonesy. It was a bad start. Probably still a little bit heartbroken from us not winning the World Cup, but also obviously the Aussies missing out on the third place as well. That started it. But how did you think the season overall went, and were happy to look back on it now with the trophy in hand, or do you think we definitely should have pushed more in other competitions?
I'm a bit the same as Lottie. Knew it was going to be tough, obviously, with the likes of the key personnel that we lost due to the injuries. I'm not Jonas's biggest fan, and this is before Viv and all that stuff. I've been banging on from the start of the season. I just don't like the way he plays, the tactics, but I won't get into that. Could we have done better? Yes, we could have. It's all ifs, buts, and maybes, isn't it? I mean, we scored 13 less goals than City, 20 less than Chelsea. It was just that lack of being clinical in front of goal for me that's cost us, game, the FA Cup game against City, we were better than them, possession, Keaton had the game of her life in goal. So, there's not much we could do there, but it's them sort of games. If we were more clinical, we could have gone on in that competition and possibly had a double. You never know. The league's always difficult with the likes of Chelsea. Now City are up there as well. We did the best we could with the start we had, and looking back at it, and now it's all calmed down a bit. You're always happy at the end of the day to finish the season with a trophy in hand. So he's done that well, and and he's obviously got a chance at next season. He's got to get it right, though. He definitely has got to get it right next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm talking tactics wise, and stuff like that. It's just he needs a team there, a solid team.
Yeah, well, that's it as well. I know we've obviously chatted a lot about our feelings across the panel towards Jonas, but we've also said that with now we know a couple of players have extended, a couple of players are obviously leaving, which has caused lots, like Lottie said, but also looking at the summer where maybe not a lot of the girls across the country are going to be playing. It's obviously the Olympics, so a selection of teams and countries are actually involved in that, and quite a lot, especially our girls, are not. So they have that chance, but also to get the transfers in and, like we've all said, have a bit more of a pre-season. Liam, do you think that Jonas this is literally his last sort of shot at the game, really, of now he's maybe in the previous seasons not had the amount of time to get everyone together and start together, but now we're in that position where we have it. There is really no excuses sort of going into the start of the season. We've got to hit it firing up.
Yeah, well, he'll have his key core players back, won't he? And he'll be able to spend a pre-season with them. So he will be, and I'm sure the club will be expecting, obviously, a good season next year. I think we will be better, much better next year, because obviously I think a lot more things will come together. I think, like, when you start looking at games last season, individually in games, we've beaten all the big teams, haven't we? Like, we beat Chelsea at home quite comfortably. We beat Manchester United at home quite comfortably. We beat Chelsea in the final. We went and beat Man City, which basically give Chelsea the title, whether we like it or not. So the individual games are there. We can go and beat each team. That team knows that they can go and beat each opponent. It's just about now doing it on a consistent basis. And I think with the likes of Mead, Williamson fully back and having a pre-season behind them, I think we have a much more stronger chance. Just be interesting to see what happens at Chelsea next year, really. See how they get on, really. Will they continue in the same vein? We just don't know, do we, really?
Yeah. I think that's it until they get. I mean, she's a pretty good manager as well. To be fair, isn't she? They've got a good one coming in, but it's that case of can she? What players is she even going to keep there? But obviously, the most important thing is we've got to be on their toes in case that they do have a rough start, and we can take advantage early on and maybe relax for once instead of having to chase from the very.
I still think they'll be a massive threat next year. They're still the team to beat at the end of the day. They're the champions, so they are the team to beat. So yeah, I think I don't think necessarily because Emma Hayes goes that the players will kind of drop their performances. I think if anything, they probably dropped it a little bit near the end of this season more than they ever did, and they're bowed out by it. If we're being frankly honest, but yeah, I still think they're the team to beat next year. But I think we'll be much closer to them.
Do you know what? I'm going to throw a cat among the pigeons here, and I'm going to completely disagree with it. With Lyon right now. Yeah, because although Sonia Bombasta's got a really good record over at Lyon, you look at the French league; they're the only team that win it. Over here, you've got Chelsea, you've got United and Liverpool coming through. You've got us, you've got Man City. Can she compete in a competitive league? That is the test for them next season. Regardless of she's bringing in her own coaching staff, so all the Chelsea lot have gone. This is new manager, new coaching staff. It's a whole different ball game next year. And if we're going to win the league anytime soon, next season's the one to do it in.
They're still the team to beat, though, aren't they? At the end of the day, at the moment, they're the champions.
Yeah, it depends. The thing is, it depends on our pre-season. The rumour at the moment is we're going over to the US to play them. That is when to get the measure of them at this point. Same with Man United. That is when you get the measure of them and see what is going on.
We'll know in the first 5 games. I think the first 5 WSL games, first 5 to 10 WSL games, we'll know where Chelsea sit.
Thing is, it only takes 2 losses and then you've lost the league. That's it. Yeah. That's the problem with this league. You lose 2 games, that's it. Game over. Unless you get fortunate, Man City twice, and then you're back in it.
Man City are going to be hungry again next year, especially how they kind of lost it as well. So it's going to be a good battle.
I don't think Bunny's not going to be back early till later in the season. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who they bring in, and I will not be surprised if a certain Gunnar goes over there. To be honest with you, £10 million training centre incoming just for the women. It's mental.
Yeah, it's that. I think that's one that's kind of waiting to be announced, isn't it? So we can all sort of be at rest and move on from it. I think not necessarily us lot, but I think the social aspect of the women's team that me and Lottie love to discuss between ourselves.
I've checked out mentally out of the WOSO community. Please, can we move on?
Yeah, absolutely. And Bez, just coming to you on that point as well. What do you think looking into the season? Do you agree that it's sort of Jonas's time to take a stand and get us up there competing again, while Chelsea are obviously going through what they're going through?
Look, first and foremost, I'll be like Jonesy. I'm not a fan of this. After he treated Biff, I won't talk too much about tonight because I'm not going to rant again that way the last time, but he needs to be more ruthless with tactics. When you have this player, put them there, don't hesitate. Use what you have, use the bench, and also, I said it before, he needs to make some subs a bit early. Why does the man wait 70 plus minutes to make subs? Most football players will be male and female. As you see in this day and age, will not make a difference for that last 20 minutes period. Well, there's a man or woman again, I'll say 30 minutes is not enough time. You need to get these 35, 38, maybe 40 if we're lucky. But he needs to be ruthless and to say to himself, I can do this. I'll go coaching staff, which somehow for me I do see he does not even use his coaching staff. Will be anything defensively, anything set pieces. He seems just to take the mantelpiece. The things is always about him. For Masi as well, he's not very, how can I say this, very articulate with his coaching staff. Without me saying anything else, because I'm a bit hurt after the way, Biv is being kind of thrown on the bus now, it seems like. Without sounding much, how can I say, hypocrite, but I just feel as well, as you guys are saying, he just needs to push on now. For me, it's the last chance, because if you see, last year we came kind of like something we saw like audition this season. He was thereabouts, fair enough. This year, you think League Cup will not self-average any season. You think close, yes. Also, as well, the way we beat City, I think, what was his performance in the league throughout the period during the Christmas time? Similar to Lamens, actually. What was it like around Christmas time? Early start of the year. What was this, prowess for a manager who thinks he's got to do these big corners? And it just feel like the man lacks some sort of, I don't know, he lacks confidence as well. He's too much to be all by himself. He forgets that sometimes the team should be more like for themselves, let them be free, but also be a bit more ruthless when you have your tactics. So I'll say it again, have it there for you to make sure you have yourself to be ready to say for a plan B. I saw some games and I think if I'm correct, we were lucky, the Tottenham one at home. Yes, we were 1-0, Alessio Russo did score, but part of me thought, if one moment we would have had to say Alessio Russo for 1 minute, we could have lost that. And he's even at third place, would have been for us either fourth or fifth. And the poor man was like, just like this on the bench. I think you just frown, man. You got a decent team. Use what they have, but please be a bit more proactive with them. Just try to G them up. Try and be a bit more, so I would say, motivational. Surely you can. Now we've been in the league for quite some time. Be a bit more, up, rather than just be a grumpy old git as he is now. It seems like.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think, as we've all pretty much said in our own way there, that it's a big season next year, and I think it will be one of those times to make changes if necessary. But of course, until we're in that position, we don't really know what's going to happen. But just want to go around to everyone. First of all, I want to get your player of the season. Because I think there might be similar names. I think there could be one or two that might throw in a new name. So Liam, I'm going to come to you first.
I'll go. I said it before. I can't change it. I'll go. Lottie Moy. I think she's probably our kind of standout player in terms of progression as well. And I think it was a really good season for her. And I think, I'll still go over. I think I've said before and I'll say again, I barely see Kim Little have a bad game. I thought she had another solid season. And I thought Russo done really well up front because it was her first season, and not like obviously she didn't have the players around them as well. So there was some really good individual performances during the season. But yeah, I'm gonna stick by what I said at the end of the season.
Perfect. No worries, Jonesy.
Yeah, there was two for me. It was Lottie or it was Katie McCabe, and I'm going to have to go for Katie McCabe just because of the shithousery that she does in games as well. You all know I love a bit of that. So that's just swayed it for me. But obviously, both of them were full-on player of the seasons for me. But no, I love Katie McCabe. I'll definitely take her to the pub and we can play darts or something. And she'll back you up. She'll back you out if a fight kicked off more than your men mates would as well. So, but yeah, no, Katie McCabe for me.
Who knows? She could be the fourth member of the pool club gang.
There you go. Get her in the big red, mate.
I would love to beat her as well. She get well angry.
She'll smack you with that cue ball, mate.
She'll do me over.
Bez, what about you? Anything different?
I'm fine between Lottie because I'm a big fan of hers. Oh, she's an Arsenal fan. She plays with a passion, which is lovely to see that, I'm torn between her and a bit maybe Emily Fox, because Emily Fox had a nice end of the season, so I hope there's more from her to come. But I kind of just about think Lottie Pipsy, because I think she plays with her heart. She just plays as an Arsenal fan, which is great to see. It just brings just such happiness in my heart seeing football fans who actually play for a club that they love inside and out like we do, and play for that. It's great to see, and I see if she just enjoys it as well, every single second of it.
Definitely. And coming to you, Lottie.
Do you know what I hate?
Another Lottie.
Oh, shite. That's a bit of a tough one. I'm not going to go with easy one for Lotte Ruben-Moy. I'm going to go with Victoria Pelova. She's been my breakout player this season. She's just been absolutely sublime to watch. I mean, I was one of her skeptics after she'd done the Volti and then joined Arsenal. I was like, okay, that's an awkward turn up in the locker room the first day. But yeah, I'm going to go with Vic Pelova. I mean, Lotte Ruben-Moy, Stina Blackstenius are both up there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems Tina likes to bring home the Conti Cup. It's her trophy now. She still likes them winning goals.
Yeah. To be fair, I was gonna throw Palova in the mix. I've been really impressed with her and how she's grown into that sort of position this season as well. But I think for me, I do have to go for Lotta, and purely based on because I've been quite critical of her in previous seasons and not thought she's been up to the challenge. And very proudly eaten a lot of humble pie, as we like to. Just the way that she's sort of grown into it. Obviously now she's finally getting a bit of recognition with the Lionesses as well. Obviously not right now because obviously she's finished the season injured, unfortunately. But you could see that she was starting to change the minds of a lot of people within the football community and finally getting in Serena's good books as well. So I think just purely for how she's grown so quickly, and to pretty much being lovely, Adam, a Lotta, humble pie. Of course, you're going to be dropping them in.
You the dad puns.
Yeah, but that's why it's just purely for me because I've said that she wasn't one of my favourite players and couldn't really see her taking the centre back position and being one of the first names on the sheet. But yeah, this season she's just been phenomenal, and like we've all said, she gets the club, and I think that goes a long way alongside Leah Williamson as well. So yeah, I'm going to give that to Lotta. So similar kind of question, but I think signing of the season. Of course, whether that's the summer or from January, but I'll throw mine in first. So overall, I would say Alessia Russo, her stats this season as well, and how she's fitted in so quickly, obviously leaving the club that she supports and changing cities and all of that thing. I think she fits in really well. But from January, I think I've said it on here a few times, Emily Fox has been ridiculous. And what a talent she is. So, Liam, I'll come to you for your signing of the summer.
I was going to say, if you didn't mention her, I'd have been absolutely surprised.
Got
I reckon you're the main person in our appreciation club. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go Russo as well. I don't think it was easy last season. In terms of coming in, I think with the whole situation. I think the thing as well, right, with any big signing, it's the expectation as well, isn't it? And when people don't really think too inside about the game and what it entails, I think people just expected her to come in and bang 30, 40 goals. And that was not what it was all about. But like, I just think her all-round game was obviously something that really, really kind of intrigued me. I think I was watching the Aston Villa game and she was everywhere. She was everywhere in that second half. She was on the left. She was supplying balls in. She was doing everything she could. So for me, yeah, I think I agree with you. That'd be mine.
Nice.
And we're going to get... Sorry. No, go on. No, it's all right. I was Jonesy.
Me? Sorry, yeah. Yeah, I think Jean knows it's Russo for me as well. She knows how excited I was when we signed her in the summer. But yeah, her stats, she's up there, with playing the most games. I think she's got the most minutes as well this season, 12 goals as well. And you got to think at times as well, she wasn't really getting supply and we wasn't that clinical. But to come in, it's a big signing, isn't it? She's come from United, she always, like Liam said, everyone expected her to hit the ground running, but it was difficult, especially with the start that we had to the season. But you can tell there's a player there. Look at her for England the other night, player of the match. So I'm just glad she's ours. We've got her for a long while, and I can't wait to see her. Hopefully, her and Stina together, up front together, next season a bit more.
Yeah, fully agree with you there. I think that's when they both came into their own as well towards the end of the season, and helped us through, isn't it, when they started linking up together?
Absolutely.
Ideal. Des, anything different, or are you in the same club?
No, same club. Come on, Alessia Russo is just the new shining light of the club. She's just overall, as you guys say, she's awesome. She can just basically dictate that box and just makes it hers. She's like the perfect box in the box that we need in this moment. She's just basically what I say to most football fans right now. She brings that spark that you need in that front area. She's got that air ability too. She can head balls. She can score quite nice finishes. That one against Bristol City was hilarious. The way she just tried to chip it, but then good deflection and in and down. I'm like, please, more to come from her. I hope next season as well.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, Lottie.
I'm going to go for Emily Fox. She's had a lot less time than Russo to settle in, and she's just been a saving grace. I'm not sure how Laura Vinvoort is going to get back into this squad next season. I have no idea. And we all know how good she is as well. So, yeah. I'm going to go Emily Fox.
Nice. Yeah. Pretty much all the same names there. I think the comments are pretty much going for Russo as well by the look of what I've seen popping up there. Apologies if you have said someone else. But all I can see is Russo. Well, there we go. Catherine, Russo, Fox, and Sarah. Yeah, I mean, one appearance and out, isn't it? But yeah, we'll see what happens. Whatever's happening with the goalkeepers next season as well. I think that's one to keep an eye on in the summer. We've said it before, who we all want or would prefer. Not sure that's going to be possible right now with a bit of an injury, but yeah, it's one to look out for sure. And then we'll go into, I've merged them together. So either your favourite goal or memory of the season. So for me, my favourite goal is probably going to be Stina against Chelsea, just because of how that moment was, but merging as well with my favourite memory was just that whole Conti Cup final day. It was literally the best day and the best moment, and just the icing on the cake at the end of having the whole squad stood in front of us and singing North London together. North London Forever together, sorry. It was a bit of a moment. I think we all had a little tears in our eyes, and that one time where we've maybe gone through a bit of rough patch during the season and then have that moment, win that cup against Chelsea, all of us together, basically filling the stadium, to be fair, and singing it and just feeling connected with the players like they're our best pals. So that was all of it for me, that whole day, the goal, singing the songs, everything. Lottie, I'll come to you first as well, because I know you were there that day, but either
you
can
said
answer
it
all
for
of
me.
them, or
you said that for me for the memory. I mean, that's the highlight of the season. I mean, any away trip with you guys, like with you, G, it's just great. It's always good fun. I think goal of the season for me is going to go to Leah Volti, but the main play comes up from Beth Mead from a throw-in. Palova kind of lets the ball run between her legs, and then it's just a wonderful strike from Leah Volti. I think it was the No More Red game against Watford. That is just, she doesn't score very often, but when she does, it's just sublime. That is goal of the season for me.
Nice. Lovely. Des, I'll come for you.
I'm just busy fighting the three choices, but I'll narrow it down in my head in this period. I think just Alessia Russo's, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think it's the first goal she scored against Tottenham, the way she just waited for the ball to come to her. You know, she had a bit of a quiet game, but she was very patient on that moment. And she thought, you know what, this is my moment in front of Emirates, big crowd, big sellout crowd, shall we emphasize? And that's what really, for me, I just thought she's been amazing. You know, the way she just carried herself from that moment she stepped into the pitch.
Nice. What about your memory of the season as well? Is there anything other than a goal that sticks out to you?
I think personally level, I think seeing Vivian Miedemar's last ever goal for us, and then she made this later on. I mean, personally, that's my highlight, the way she just carried herself through. She came on, she full of life, took it in her stride, had a cracking last game, and then just had a career-winning goal. So that made me feel happy that, look, she at least then would have held that high. Thanks for everything, what she done for us, and best of luck wherever she goes now. That's what I say, is a true champion that she is.
Yeah, I think that's got to be a good moment up there as well. It was right in front of me and Lottie.
Leia,
and it was a bit of an emotional moment from the whole squad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I got some wicked pictures out of that, I will say that.
Yeah. Jonesy, what about you?
Yeah, you girls have touched on it. That Stina goal in the cup final definitely has to be out there with a goal for me of the season. Memory is beating Chelsea 4-1. The way we beat them, we smothered them. You know, Lauren James was as bad as her brother that day. It was just literally nullified them. You know, and that's what, the high pressing game. Once I saw that, and I thought, yeah, we're in for a real chance here. And obviously it didn't pan out. We won't talk about it, but that game, you could tell what the squad are capable of doing that game. You know, when they're all on song, it's just the manner we battered Chelsea was brilliant. That was my memory of the season.
Nice. Yeah, another good one. And Liam, lastly for you, favourite goal or memory for yourself on the
You tell
season?
you what, one of my favourite goals was right at the start of the season, Katie McCabe against Aston Villa, because obviously we was 1-0 down in that game, weren't we? And it was a massive goal at the time to get us back in there. I remember that it was quite a fierce strike. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Katie McCabe. But obviously, like you all say, obviously the memorable part of the season is going to be the Steiner goal, and then the fallout after it with Emma Hayes. So yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it? Really, in terms of obviously how that game finished up and how it basically exposed it. We're being totally honest, but yeah, I'd say that was probably the highlight of the season. In terms of it, I think, like as Jonesy said, I think the best game that I see of the season was Chelsea. But also, I think the second half of the Aston Villa game away, I've just never seen a team batter a team so much. I know we did it against Leicester away as well, but Aston Villa, we literally pummeled them, and you were sitting there thinking, we don't win this game, and it's a travesty. So that kind of, I can't remember that second half performance and thinking, bloody hell, we just literally battered the team. And it was pretty much at the same time as when the men's team are pretty much battering teams as well. So it was a good period, that was.
Yeah, it was the moments where the men were playing sort of the afternoon and then the women were straight after, so we could have those consecutive 6 hours of just watching both sides batter and perform, as we know that they obviously can do. But yeah, there's some really good points in there. So just going into a couple of contract extensions, obviously we won't go too much into the ones that have left now because we've kind of done that, and I think they've had their moment. So to focus on us going forward, obviously the first one that was announced was Stina. I think we're all fans of Stina and what she can bring to us as well, and maybe sometimes gets a bit underappreciated, because she does like to be offside a few times. We all know that. But just pulling out some stats, because like we said, sometimes she can maybe have 7 chances in a game and score the hardest one and miss all the easy ones. But she has actually scored 43 goals in 85 appearances. So, and not only that, 2 Conti Cup finals in a row basically won us the game, and brought home the trophy single-handedly in both of those games. Bez, I'll come to you first. What did you make of the announcement of that, and obviously her going to be staying in the future?
I think it's good that we managed to get it out of the way before the summer break. So at least tells the club that now we mean the business. Now we mean the real deal. Surely now we need to settle down the team a bit, give them a little lift before they were going out to their, summer break. Hopefully we'll make some more signings. And just this is where we really, I think, as a whole ladies squad, it seems whoever's left, they say is left now, but we're quite good. We look in good shape. Why can't we start strongly now? Let's start strongly. Keep it, together throughout the season. Yes, we want to have some blips, but keep going and keep your head out high and just don't let the bad negative, vibe ruin your mindset as a footballer. Just keep going. And as most of the girls, as you see, most of even Emily Fox, the way she grew into the game, you can see maturity will run through the club. Now they can help each other, they can push each other on. So I'm quite happy that to see that we managed to sign all these players now, to sign their contracts, to sign them on, to say to the players who are currently there, we're there for you, but please just keep at it. You get there the big time. Hopefully that WSL will be nice from them next season. But again, who knows what the season will bring.
Yeah. And Lottie, I know towards the end of the season there was probably a lot of rumours flying around about Stina and potentially leaving the club in the end. I know we were talking about it a lot, thinking about shirt names and all sorts for next season and waiting for it. So first of all, how did you feel the moment it sort of came out? And then looking at the future as well, that we've secured a player with her stats for the next couple of seasons, when we thought that maybe that might be the time that she had left.
If I'm honest with you, it was more relief. I mean, we had a deep conversation about this in the first place, but it was more relief. If you look at the way Stina plays, she brings something completely unique to the squad. She doesn't play the way LaRusso plays. She's a goal poacher. She sits there and poaches, and we need that, and we haven't had that in a long time. So it's what we need. I mean, she's won us 2 Conti Cup semi-finals, beaten City. She's won us, again, 2 Chelsea finals. And so players like that turn up in big games, that's what we want, and that's what we need. So I'm buzzing to get her on my shirt.
Yes. Jonesy as well. I know that we're big fans of Stina. We were talking about it quite a lot. So that moment of getting it done nice and early, as we said as well, before she goes off to the Olympics, I think. What do you make of that? And again, looking at the future with her and Russo, we're going to see a lot more of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like relief was more than anything, just to keep her on board, because you hear the rumors that she had offers, and they could have been big money offers, but she's chose to stay. Hopefully she's been promised, that she will play a lot more with Russo up top, and them two together can be lethal. Like you said, she's that fox in the box that we need. She's always there. You always think, when a game's like we're 1-0 down and there's a last minute chance, Stina pops up with the goals. We've seen it. It's just, I'm so pleased to keep her on board, especially with the loss of Viv and stuff like that. You were thinking, is the exit door going to be burst wide open and, people follow her out? But no, she's chosen to stay. And, hopefully them two together next season, we could be sitting here with bigger smiles on our face than we have after the Conti Cup win.
Yeah, definitely. And just finally on Stina, Liam, just thinking about what Lottie said of she's a big game and a big moment player. Maybe even going into next season, if she is benched a bit more for Russo, do you think just having her in and around the squad and being able to bring her on in difficult games, harder games, obviously cup finals, hopefully we get to more as well, just shows her value on top of the good player we already know she is?
Yeah, she totally deserves the opportunity first and foremost, because as you guys said, like what she's delivered over the last kind of 2 seasons for us in the big moments has kind of delivered us silverware, and that has to be recognised massively. I'm just pleased. I think near at the back end of the season, she got to see a lot more minutes, and hopefully that kind of continue. Like next season's going to be a big season, is it? We're going to expect to do much better in the Champions League again next year. So hopefully there'll be a lot more games, which will mean that there'll be a lot more rotation, which will probably give a lot more minutes. But I think it's a big season for her next year, and let's see if he's got the faith.
Yeah,
that's the big question. We'll see now if he's got the faith in her to kind of deliver. It'd be really nice if she could get in that team and get a really good run together with Russo in the team. It would be even better.
Yeah, absolutely. And just obviously on the other contract extension we've heard recently, Leah Williamson. I'll come to you first, Liam, on that. We'll go back round for everyone else's thoughts on it. But again, nice and early. I mean, I don't think there was any sort of rumours or anything with Leah. I think she could be a one club gal. But again, how important for someone of her stature. Obviously, you can pretty much tell she's going to lead the club going forward in a captaincy role as well. So again, how important to get that done and dusted nice and quickly as well.
Yeah, well, she's total Arsenal, isn't she? She's like the female version of Tony Adams. There's not even a contemplation that she was ever going to leave, so there was never a doubt in it whatsoever. And it's good to, like you say, it's good to get it done early, because it's something that doesn't have to be drawn out. It's something that doesn't have to be discussed whatsoever. It's done. Concentrate on next season. Go and rest up for the summer. Go and enjoy your summer and come back next season. And she's going to be much more fresher, much more fitter, and hopefully we'll see the best version of her, which I'm sure we will. She's an ultimate leader, isn't she? Like she's gonna obviously take over with us as well. That armband. So yeah, it's great to see that she's obviously committed, and it's great that she's back in the England side as well.
Yeah, that I was gonna say as well. Like Jonesy, now that was her obviously ultimate goal, was to get back into the England squad before the end of the season. Obviously recovering from her injury. So obviously she's massively important to England as she is with us. But yeah, how happy were you when you saw that video pop up? Pretty much out of nowhere, to be fair. There was nothing, no mention for a few days of anything, and then out comes her little video with her family. How nice is that to see as well?
I tell you, there's 2 times I've cried at Arsenal announcement videos: when Henry left and when Leah Williamson signed to stay. That, you know, that video was just like, yeah, I was sitting there. There's just got my scarf, crying into my scarf. But no, she's Arsenal through and through, isn't she? She's literally everything this club embodies. It runs through her veins. We lose a game, she's on the pitch crying and clapping the fans. You know, she feels it. Every win, every loss, every trophy that we lift. She's there. She's there, ever present in that defence when she's fit and healthy. And seeing her put that England jersey back on, you know, it's amazing to see. The main thing I'm happy is she's ours. No one else is taking her away.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lottie, I'll come to you as well. Obviously, we've seen her come back into the fold, as we said, but we've maybe not seen her play as many minutes as expected. But how, just on top of the contract extension and everything like that, how pleased are you that we sort of managed her as well? There must be some good communication between the England setup, Arsenal, doctors and everything, just to allow her to fully have her moment and recover properly. So that just obviously helps us all sets in the future to keep her nice and strong.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, bringing her back from her ACL has been absolutely tremendous. I mean, we had a few worries back at the Company Cup final when she was taken off, but again, she wasn't fully fit. But they've seemed to have got it right with her, unlike Viviana Miedema, which is always a plus to see. Like, I do feel bad for Viv, don't get me wrong, but getting it right is always the key thing, and coming back from these big injuries, because it is better for them to get these when they're younger and not the age that they are, because they're more likely to recover from it. I know it doesn't really apply to Taya Goldie because she had it in one and then Rob Holding leaked it that she had done the other knee. So hopefully this continues. She didn't have her knee strapped up on the other day over in France, which was great to see.
For the first time, I think. We've seen it pretty much every game back, isn't it, almost?
I think so. I didn't see Friday night's game up in Newcastle, so yeah, I can't say yes to that. Sorry, G.
That's okay. And just finally, your thoughts as well on it, Des?
I'm very happy to see her be signed up for the long run. It's good to see her committed, but also see her back with a smile on her face. Good to see her being herself. You know, she's a lovely girl, lovely woman. As Jonesy said, I mean, usually I don't hold back emotions, but just seeing that video alone just remind me, as a young Arsenal fan growing up, to see another Arsenal fan who loved playing for the Arsenal, will be day in, day out, and also glad to see her play for the Lionesses as well against France. She seems to have the stature back. Her resilience is there. Her characterism, for us, is there, but just something about her just super. I mean, I might be too young to remember Tony Adams, but as Johnny said, for me, she's completely. I mean, Tony Adams was Mr. Arsenal. For me now, she'll be Mrs. Arsenal for me, because she just gives that. How can I say this love? I mean, you see the girls love playing with her, the ladies love playing with her, and what's not to like, even as a football fan, even as a man inside, it makes me feel so happy to see her just thrive. You know, considering what she's been through, what she went through. Like, I wish, and again, as I said, I wish we carried Viv the same way, but sadly, it's not meant to be, you know. But at least one is kind of protected in the bottom wall. So touch wood, we look after her in the long run, and she can play for more years to come, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So just quickly getting some important dates in the diary. So obviously the WSL is due to start on the 21st of September. The season, a nice few months break. For once, nice long break, and also the WSL transfer window is due to open in a couple of weeks on the 24th of June. But quite critically, I think for me, it's the best way forward. It's actually going to close before the WSL starts, which is the 13th of September, so about a week beforehand. Liam, how important do you think that is as well? That we're not going to start the season with the possibility that some people might leave or new players coming in, we can actually start with our squad fresh and ready to go, knowing that that's the squad for at least 6 months.
Should be done across the whole of football, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion. Like, teams have enough time. If you reduce the window, right, from September the 1st to August the 15th, right, teams will still get the same kind of business done.
Yeah,
they will still get the same kind of business done. They will just operate a little bit earlier, and there'd be none of this cat and mouse shit. So I think it's the best philosophy. I think at least you know what you've got going into the first game of the season, and really you should. Really, as a club, your mindset should be that by the time the first game of the season comes, I want my squad and my team ready for that first game of the season. I think it should be embedded across the whole of football, men and women's game. Personally, I'm not even a great fan of the January window, if I'm being totally honest, but that's for another day. But yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea, and I think it will just be able to give full focus of what your squad looks like going into the first game of the season.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Jonesy, just touching on that as well, because I know we've all said previously we've had a mixture on the men's side of some of us wanting something like that to happen and be ready to go, but also then to have the pre-season that we're going to finally be able to have. Obviously, I believe that the girls are heading out to America with the guys, playing their games out there. So how important that we can, as we've seen, we've already had some outgoings announced. We've already got a couple of extensions, as we've mentioned as well, and now it's going to turn very soon into starting to add to the squad, but also to get that done nice and early before we head out to pre-season. How valuable do you think that will be?
Yeah, amazing. This, he can get his tactics going early on. They can work on everything out in the US. So when they come back here, they've had time to gel and stuff like that, and get to know each other, whoever we bring in. But yeah, same as Liam as well. I don't like the transfer window going in while the season starts. It's the uncertainty for me more than anything. If one of your players is linked to go somewhere else, but then she's starting for you that week, it's just that whole thing. Is she really giving her all and stuff like that? So yeah, close it and let's get on with what you got. But it'd be great to finally have a pre-season start. The Champions League obviously start earlier as well. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't get those dates actually.
Yeah, we're qualifying. So
yeah, and we get the Champions League, a better start than we had last season. And if he's got the team ready to go before we get to that Champions League, obviously qualifying, should be no excuses. But yeah, I'm just to get everyone together is crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lottie, coming to you, because I don't know if you know maybe any more names that have been flying around, but there's a big name that's pretty much filling up my newsfeed at the moment of a possible incoming. What do you make of that? I think it's pretty much going to happen by the looks of things. Is that something, obviously, Caldente from Barcelona, is that something that you're looking forward to sort of add to the squad going forward?
I'm definitely open to that. Benching Caitlin Ford, I'm all for it. I can't stand Caitlin Ford. I can't. She's useless in my eyes. She's not for me. But yeah, no, she will be benched by Mariona Caldente. We've seen what she can do against us. If you go back to the 21-22 season, we lost 4-0 to Barcelona at the Emirates. That's all you need to know about that game, and she completely owned Kimi Little. I hate to say it, but she did ruin her. She ruined Beth as well with her backtracking. So if it does happen, I'm all for it. But it's also a case of we've got to consider her gelling with the team and her being at the Olympics. With Leia Cadena, the Aussies, as well as Chloe Lacasse, and who else is in there? There's a few others in there. So I don't think on this tour we're going to have everyone there because the Olympics will be on, and then it'll be a late return for some of them.
Yeah, that is kind of the sticking point of the summer, isn't it? Of having this competition going along. But just to think of her caliber of player, obviously she's been at Barcelona for a decade. She's played over 300 games and scored 114 goals. World Cup winner, 3 times Champions League winner. I'm not sure on her age, so I won't say I'm not sure if she's in her prime or whatever at the moment, but that sort of caliber of player to be bringing in, that's exactly what we need to be looking for, isn't it, really?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's you look at what she's done at Barcelona, what her credentials are, and it speaks for itself. But it's also a case of how she could be fitting into the team, and is she going to unsettle Caitlin Ford, or is she going to push Caitlin Ford to be better? Because I do feel that Caitlin Ford is too comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's just a question. She's had a really pants season, and I've seen better from her. I've always complained about her. I've always been critical of her, and this season just gone absolute rubbish. I just questioned how she started. The only good game I feel she had this year was the Conti Cup final. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I can see Catherine's with me on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you, Catherine. I know Emily Fox is also at the Olympics.
Yeah, there's a few, isn't there? That's the problem.
The Swedes are going as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to look at the Olympic teams again.
So she's about Stina's age there, a couple of months.
Yeah,
That's
I think
not
she's
a bad
about 28.
age, to be fair, to have played with Barcelona for 10 years already.
Yeah, she was there when she was like 18, I think.
Yeah, and there's just coming to you on that one as well. Do you know much about her, and is that a sort of signing that you'd be like excited for if we could do it?
I mean, I'm not gonna be silly here, but I don't know much about it. But the more caliber players we get, I think the more boost will give the team, a little lift to push them for the bigger stuff now, you know? For most of that is experience of the Champions League we had. Completely, we got caught up with our, pants down sadly. But I think just now, I think we need to sign all players we can just to push the girls to another level. Because we're already there, but I feel like maybe another player like her could maybe push us for the big things, to have bigger strides, bigger targets, and hopefully we get it done and dusted before the summer break really ends. And then, as you say, we go to the season full of recharge. Let's go for it. We can do it now. We'll hopefully lesson learned from the last few years. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's fair. So Adam's just saying Sweden aren't at the Olympics this year. To be fair, I don't really know. I'm not really asked about the Olympics. Now that we're not in it, it would have been really cool to have seen Serena sort of take control of Team GB, I think. But the minute that we're out, I'm not really bothered about it. Just hope, obviously, the most important thing is that the girls that we do have going there obviously have a great competition, but more importantly, I think for us is to come back fit and strong and ready to go, all being well. But yeah, so just so we can round up on the women's team, sort of look into the future again, with our hopes and not predictions, but your thoughts on what we can achieve and what the aim should be for this coming season. So Liam, I'll start with you. Is it a case of focus solely on the league, or do you think all guns blazing in all fields?
League's your bread and butter, isn't it? Like, that's what we first and foremost want to be competing to win. So obviously that is what you solely concentrate on, and then you see where you are going into the latter part of the year, and hopefully you've got a full strength squad that you can kind of fight on all fronts, because that's the problem, isn't it, with any kind of level of football? It all depends when you go into the later months, so where your injury situation sits at that point, how successful have you been. So yeah, for me, I think it's the league, but obviously we want a really good run in Champions League again, don't we? Like, we were so close season before last with Wolfsburg, and yeah, it's still painful, that, isn't it? So I'm sure we'll want to put a good show on there and try and obviously get as far as we can. But yeah, no, it's exciting. I think it's gonna, as I said, like, I think with the players coming back fresh this year, with the players all being fit, I think we're going to be in a much better situation to compete. And it's consistency now. We just need the consistency week in, week out, and no silly slip ups like losing to the scum away and that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Small fractions, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a good sign as well, that a couple of very, obviously, like Lottie said earlier, you can't really afford to drop many points or lose games in the WSL. But I think if we're, like you said as well, beating the bigger teams and having those records and occasions where we've accomplished it, and now looking to make sure we see out the games that we should be winning quite comfortably, I think that's going to be the flip and the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, like it all depends. I honestly think it all depends on how fit we keep the squad and how we hit the squad running. And I think if we hit the ground running and we start really well, because am I right in saying the last couple of seasons, like our first games, I think it was Liverpool the year before, weren't it? Was it Liverpool the year before? Or was it Liverpool last year? Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, we haven't started the season well, and then I think we've been fighting up against it. So I think it was like you said earlier on, you can't afford to lose more than 2 games in this league. So you don't want to be losing on the first game of the season, whatever happens. So yeah, I think do you know what? Anything's possible, but it all depends how you're doing. Coming out of Christmas, hitting through the winter. And if you've got the squad there and you're sitting top of the league and you're fighting in all cup fronts, it's momentum, isn't it? It's momentum. And I think we got the quality in the squad to be able to compete in every tournament. It's just about going out and doing it now. And I think Bez said as well, the manager has to be stronger in certain situations during games. And I'm sure, obviously, he'll review his own performance at times, and hopefully next year we'll do it and win as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jonesy, as well as going to have all of the home WSL fixtures at the Emirates, there is the opportunity to have more Champions League games there as well if we do progress further in the tournament. So is that something that we definitely should be looking at achieving, just to sort of have these moments at the Emirates Stadium in the Champions League as well, if we can get that far?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to be vital this year, having more games at the Emirates. Obviously, we lost to Liverpool first game of the season, but that was like an anomaly. But yeah, the more games we have there, they're really more up for it and stuff like that. Further in the Champions League is a must, and I know the teams are like Barcelona and the Lyons in there, a difficult team, Wolfsburg, we've had Juventus at the Emirates. But there's nothing like a Champions League night at the Emirates Stadium, is there? I know we've all been to them. But for me, the WSL is a must, especially with Chelsea. As Lottie said, I agree, it's going to be difficult for Chelsea this year. They've got to bed in with a new management team and fitness structure, all that sort of stuff. And it's a perfect time to win the league, especially with Jonas and his squad. So, I'm under the illusion there's no excuses for him this year. And I'm going to go out on a whim and say, league and FA Cup double for us this year.
Nice. Not retaining the big Conti Cup.
I don't think so, no. We've got to let someone else win it for a change, you know what I mean?
Just the once.
Just the once.
And Lottie, I know we've sort of been provisionally setting our eyes on a Champions League final, no matter what, next season as an occasion to go to, an experience. But looking at the Champions League next season and obviously this season, what went wrong so early, do you think that's something that we should be absolutely throwing everything at to get to that, to be able to play the like?
We should be fighting for everything. We should be fighting for everything, not just one thing. And that's what drives me mad about Arteta. He doesn't care about the cups. And that experience that the boys are missing, well, I don't know what's going on in his head, but we should be absolutely fighting for anything. I think for next season, I just want a healthy squad. I want Jonas to get his tactics right, settle on his starting 11, and stop
pissing about.
Yeah,
sorry, and stop changing it. Sorry, I'm not 100%. But yeah, no, I want him to get it right, and I want us to fight for everything. And I just can't wait for next season. Got a few away trips booked up. I mean, Champions League final in Portugal next year for me and Jay. Can't wait.
Yeah. Absolutely. More memories to be made. And Bez, just finally coming to you, what are your thoughts heading into next season? I know your thoughts on the manager and that type of thing, but what we can achieve when we know that we can win a cup when we get there, and maybe an FA Cup day out at Wembley. What do you reckon?
Look, the league has to be priority, yes. Every competition, Lottie says, has to be priority. But please, for the life of me, I don't want to keep too much people's time, but he needs to be so ruthless to realize the league is important. Yes, you build the fundamental base of the league. Yes, surely. But him leaving the way he played the FA Cup game against Tottenham, that was very much a bit childish and amateurish from him. The way he just completely just realized, what? I'm going to just shift focus to something else. I think he just forgot. He just switched off and he realized, what? How much of the Conti Cup again? I'm thinking, come on, dude. You think You think Conte Cup for any team will be men and ladies are gonna say it's gonna salvage the season. He won't really save you anything. For me, next season he has to be trying to say to his team, guys, I want you to now to push on. You got the whole league season, well, half the season at the Emirates. You got the away games, yes. Yes, just utilize the team in the cups. Champions League would be great if I had a little run. Hopefully we pass the playoff stage. So yeah, I'll say I'll be happy as well with a double. You know, maybe FA Cup as well. I agree with John. I agree. FA Cup would be nice to have the ladies FA Cup win because I know it's special. The FA Cup with our club will be men's as well included. But again, I'm not here to criticize Jonas altogether tonight, but he needs to be more. Again, I say ruthless, but he needs to realize what he can bring out of the girls. How can motivate them? How can make way even the bench? Because I see half the girls that comes on sometimes. They come into the game. They're just a bit. How can I say this word? A little bit disjointed, and it does bug me a bit as a football fan to think, come on, man, you're a manager. Even a bench, you need to motivate them. You can't just expect you start never to create all the magic. You need to have a whole round squad to make sure they back you up. Because if you back them up, they'll deliver for you. They deliver the promised land, which means a bigger cup, a bigger trophy, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, he learned his lesson from the last few years. As I said earlier, hopefully he learned that he needs to be a bit more efficient with his tactical awareness. Otherwise, for me, sooner or later, the door is to that way, and then you can just, think that he's done his deed and just move on now, for our care, because he seems to be a bit very, I don't know, very naive as well, which is sad to say, but that's how he is, I guess.
Yeah, and just on Ryan's comment there, is it make or break next season for Jonas? I think we've all pretty much said that in our own little way this evening. Just looking at it, it's got to be, as Lottie said, everything is achievable, and that should be the aim overall. But yeah, I'm sure by the time it comes round, we'll be ready to go, and we can only deal with what we've got. So whether that's Jonas taking us on to compete more and learning from previous seasons' mistakes, or if that comes a change in the future, who knows? But I think we're all well and truly on the roller coaster for it.
Breaking news for you.
Oh, go for it.
For the second year running, Beth Mead is the winner at the Sportsbook Award, this time in the children's category for her book, Raw.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Second year running, it's not bad.
Yeah. And as well, I think that's what some of the women's players are doing so well as well, isn't it? They're having a sort of focus. Not saying the men don't do it, but it seems to be more common. Leah's obviously brought out a couple of books. Obviously, Beth, some children's books, her own book. It seems like a common thing as well, and a focus away from the pitch. So we're obviously very proud to have her on our ranks as well. A very good person, a representative of our club, I think. So big up to Beth Mead on that one. We're very happy to see her regain some form again, like we know she could do towards the end of last season. So yeah, let's hope it continues as well. But yeah, thank you for that. Pretty much, I think that rounds up most things on the women's side of things at the moment. Obviously, like we said, we don't necessarily have our own international tournament, no Euros or anything for the women's this summer. As we say, Team GB are not going, so there's not much to sort of delve into building that one up. So I think we'll just head into the announcement today, obviously the men's England squad, just to cover that before we wrap up and get everyone's thoughts on it as well. Because I know, Liam, you wanted to talk about this a little bit tonight, didn't you? Yeah,
just wanted to get everyone's kind of understanding around it. So obviously the England squad come out today, as you can see. So I'm just going to go through obviously the squad, and I'm going to go Jonesy first, see what his kind of thoughts are on it. Dean Ensign, Jordan Pickford, and Aaron Ramsdale are the goalkeepers. Defenders are Lewis Dunk, Joe Gomez, Mark Guayi, Konza, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, and Cole Walker. Midfielders are Trent and Alexander-Arnold, Conor Gallagher, Mainu, Declan Rice, and I suppose the surprise call up, which is quite a surprise one because he only got called up into the last squad, was Adam Walton of Crystal Palace. And up front, Jude Bellingham, Jarrod Bowen, Eze, Phil Foden, Anthony Gordon. Should I say his name? Yeah, all right. Harry Kane, Cole Palmer, Saka, Tony, and Watkins. Jonesy, any surprises there for you? Obviously, the big one today coming out is that Grealish and Maddison, well, especially Grealish, I think, has obviously been dropped. Do you think that's kind of fully deserved in terms of the overall season he's had?
To be fair, yeah, he hasn't had the best of season as he's at City, and let's face it, they're winning everything at the moment because of who they are. It was a surprise, to see him dropped, but then you got to think about it. He's picking players over in form. For me, it's that defence. I think I made a comment earlier that defence is about as solid as Katie Price's knickers, but is literally controversial comment. But yeah, it's literally just we're gonna get. Yeah, I can't say the words on here to be fair, but yeah, I'm quite surprised. It's nice to see. Obviously, Cole Palmer's getting a chance. He's done well for Chelsea, as much as we hate to say it. Tony's there because he can take a penalty. The midfield is a bit. I don't know. You know what? To be fair, I was just shocked. That team, that selection is just shocking. That Crystal Palace guy. Don't get me wrong. I know Palace boys big him up and stuff like that. But he just feels a bit like Walcott when we took Walcott to a European Championship a bit at a too early age. Is he just there to make up the numbers? But then other players could have gone. I'm looking forward to the Euros. Yeah, can't wait. God help us.
I think obviously it's interesting when you talk about the kind of defensive part of that team, and I think I said earlier on, for me, Kieran Trippier is going to play left back probably and start left back, but I think he's been absolutely appalling this season for Newcastle, and he's basically found himself in an unbelievable situation where he plays right back. He's got no chance playing right back considering the competition he's got. But because there's no left backs, he's going to play there, and I think that's a big area for me. I'll be totally honest. I'm not worried about the centre backs. I know that might sound a bit funny towards you, but we've all been calling for Harry Maguire not to be playing. And now he hasn't been picked. Everyone's like, well, we ain't got no defence. But no one really wanted Maguire in the team anyway. And the fridge has done absolute nothing for about 2 seasons now. Do you know what I mean? So the only problem is with Mark Guay. He's been injured, isn't he? He's only coming back from injury. That's where the concerns. For me, Lewis Dunk is not good enough. I think, he's going to be like the Connor Cody, isn't he? That's the geezer he's going to be. He's going to be that talisman in the change room. That's what he's there for. But yeah, I totally agree. Braithwaite, he's a bit unfortunate, but he hasn't really earned the spot either, if we're being totally honest at the moment. He's very new as well, like Adam Walton. So yeah, and I think the big one sticks out, don't it, Ben White? For me, if Ben White was in his squad, he'd play centre back with John Stones.
Yeah,
I just think it's a massive shame that situation hasn't been sorted out, if I'm being totally honest. But I don't care. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be fully fit for next season. We know he's going to be fresh. So we'll be the beneficials for that. Going over to you, G, what's your kind of thoughts on the squad?
Again, like Jonesy, I was like, what on earth is that defence? And I don't really, I don't really know who else should be there. But I don't think we have at the moment good defenders, do we? That moment has passed and it seems to be everyone is just going up front. But yeah, so that's going to be, and obviously Luke Shaw hasn't been playing for months on end, but somehow gets in. So it's going to be a bit odd. We know who's going to be in goals. There's no point even discussing the other two, I think, unless something happens to him, obviously. But yeah, and then up front, I think I was glad to see Maddison out. I think that's really funny. Not because he's just Spurs. I just don't think he's he's a good person as well. There was a few, my dad says it quite a lot actually, when he first got called up, it was only for a friendly and he ended up calling in sick and he was actually in a casino. So I was like, well, if you can't be bothered to turn up for them and now all of a sudden you've left camp before the others because you've told you're not in, it's not really, it doesn't look great in my opinion. Obviously we don't know what happens behind closed doors or whatever. I was happy to see Jared Bowen get in because I did think he would be the one to miss out for Grealish. So that was a big surprise. And you think an £100 million player isn't going to his country's tournament? It's pretty big, isn't it? I think if he played for a certain other club, that would be all over the news. But that seems to have just been swept under the carpet today, hasn't it? I think. Yeah, I also can't believe it starts next week. I don't feel like there's any fever for this tournament or build up like there normally is. Is there? It's all a bit rushed, I think, and it's sort of our first game is next Sunday, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, next Sunday.
Which is, to me, it just does not feel like it's competition time whatsoever. I don't know whether because it's still the heartbreak of the season, and I don't want to commit just yet. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird feeling around, I think, at the moment. And obviously with what's going on with the staff and Ben White as well, I think maybe the England camp isn't what it has been in the past couple of tournaments. So yeah, it's going to be an odd one, I think. God knows what the starting 11 will be.
I think the interesting point you said about Jack Grealish, and I actually agree with you. Like I was sitting there thinking about earlier on, I was sitting there thinking, if I was at Gareth Southgate and then it got to a late in the game, like the 70th minute, who would I rather bring on? Jack Grealish or Jared Bowen? And I'm going to be totally honest with you, I'd rather bring on Jack Grealish. Like, you know, he's going to draw out fouls. You know, he's going to win tackles and all that. Yeah, his season hasn't gone well. I think he's potentially going to have a look at himself now and say to himself, do I stay at Man City and don't get an England team? But let's be honest, with the whole situation, Man City probably might be a time for him to sit there and go, maybe I do go to another club and try and get back into that England squad. But I do feel sorry for him a little bit because I don't think Gareth Southgate's ever really particularly liked him, if we're being totally honest. He's never really played him in the first team, so there's something he doesn't like about him. But if it come later into a game, later in a tournament, I think I'd rather have Jack Grealish on that bench. But that's just my opinion. What's your kind of thoughts, Lottie? You're on mute again.
You're mute.
Jesus, I need to stop muting both of these mics. Again, it's mediocre, lukewarm for me, and not interested in the slightest. I mean, you look at the goalkeepers, pretty standard. Okay, move on. Look at that back. Luke Shaw hasn't played since mid February. Why is he there?
Yeah.
Then you look at the middle of the park. Why is Kobe Manu there? No reason. Adam Morton. Who is Adam Morton? And it's just it's like who? Like seriously, like these. You're literally taking a heavy defense, a heavy forward with no midfield. Something goes wrong in that middle of the park. We've got nothing.
I did sit there and think if Declan Rice got injured, who would cover Declan Rice?
I don't want to say that. That's the problem.
I know.
Like,
I looked at it and I thought,
literally, there is no Spurs players in this squad. But there's literally
there's your positive. There's your positive.
Yeah.
From putting that putting that aside, there is just nothing about this squad, and I'm really uninterested.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Like Cole Palmer deserves to be there. He single-handedly dragged that white van over in Chelsea through this season. I don't know why Ivan Toney's there. I don't know why we've got 3 number 9s. Like, let's be honest, Harry Kane's going to play every single game.
Yeah.
What's the point?
He's basically just took Tony there for a penalty shootout, hasn't he? Just be honest.
Yeah, basically.
Basically, that's
like, he's not done anything this season, and like, yes, he's come back from his ban and all that kind of rubbish, and it's just like, it's just been, like, this whole team's lukewarm, mediocre, apart from our star boy and Declan Rice. Call me Arsenal biased, but not interested.
Damn right.
And going over to you, Bess, what's your kind of thoughts on the squad? Anything that kind of stands out to you that's not been said?
Look, I was speechless a week ago. My phone got stolen. I'm speechless today. I just think this manager completely just picks people completely like, if they do, I want you, no, I don't want you because I have a problem with you, my assistant manager. I'm thinking, I never speak about English this openly, I'll never get the chance, but I just feel like this manager does not have ethos as a manager to bring them as a unit, to say to them, I'll pick you because you had a great season, pick them unmarried. He just, for me, picks them randomly. Feels like, so if you remember the time when Capello, I'll give an example, when Capello had the England squad in his last tournament, for me, I think he's almost saying to himself, oh, this is my almost last chance to bring some glory home. But for me personally, as an adopted nation as England, I just feel like you've got so many players to choose from. Surely reconcile the difference between players you call. Ben White is an example. Again, I'll be like Lottie, I'll be very biased. surely going to fix that, you know? Surely going to have a word with him to say, what, patch things up, you know? It frustrates me that simply he can't utilize what he has in the squad. He picks, again, I'm nothing against the Palace boy, but he seems inexperienced. He's had like 20 something odd games for Palace, some in Championship with Blackburn, nothing against him. Fine, you pick him, but when you got some other choices, surely. For me, I'm surprised as well how he's picked Tony. He's just back after his ban. You know, he had a kind of mid kind of season. The defense, I'm sorry, but that's just crying. That's crying for battering. Other fact, you picked Lewis Dunk. Okay, I'm not attacking any fan base around. You pick again, as you guys said, Luke Shaw's example too. The harder plays, you pick him. But you got so much other choices to pick around. Yet this man, I don't know. Since I've seen him in the last few tournaments, you're gonna have to pick some random players because out of nowhere. I just think surely tell me, and anyone, and I'll ask you, one of you, surely please tell me, does he not speak to his coaches at all to have a word to say who thinks out of these players has a better season? Surely when he comes on as well for the bench, surely as well can pick. Finally, he's dropped Madison. We get it. Finally, dropped Grealish. But again, I think for most of the day, the lineup, I was like, is this what he's going with? Is this man living the current moment to say to us as football fans that he's going with this? It just feels like he doesn't think before he picks. I just don't know. Again, I used to see him as a footballer. I thought, okay, the footballer had a good mental state. But ever since he became a manager, I don't know, I find him a different person. I thought he'd be more hands-on with his players, more approachable, more like easy control, communicating better with them. I say this, similar to Jonas. It's similar to Jonas' situation. He does not know how to G them up. He just seems to just pick them, play, do the job. When you're done, just go to your family. Thank you very much. Farewell. That's what he seems to be doing for me.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of people probably kind of thinking the same in terms of scratching their head in terms of like how the squad is kind of materialised. And I think if you'd given loads of people the 23-man squad, 26-man squad, 26, isn't it? A month ago, I think it would have been quite different to this one. I think, as it was said, Harry Kane's going to play every minute up top anyway. So in terms of Watkins and Tony, I think people only believe that either Watkins or Tony would go. I think a lot of people would have thought Jack Grealish would have still gone. The defensive options I totally get. He hasn't really got much, but that's because of his own coach's doing, in my opinion. Like, he's missing one of the best defenders in the country at the moment, and that's on form over the last 2 years because they can't patch up whatever happened over in the World Cup, which is sad to see. But from my point of view, I just think it's I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting what midfield he goes with and how he goes with that midfield. I think that's going to be the key thing. On my personal opinion, is it'll pay Trent in there. He loves Trent, don't he? Now, for some reason, he didn't like him, but now he likes him. So I think he'll go Trent and Rice in there, and then potentially Bellingham, Foden, Saka, and Kane. Which, when you look at it, that's a decent side. That ain't a bad side, but Trent doesn't play naturally a load of games in centre midfield. Do you know what I mean, Jonesy? So do you think that's a risk putting him in there?
Yeah, massive risk. You know, Klopp hasn't done it when he was at Liverpool. Maybe I don't think he has, no. Unless he's going to play him as right back, we never know. Do he? And Kyle Walker could play centre back. He's played centre back before, but it's a huge risk. You know, all that attacking threat we've got, you still got to keep the goals out of the other end. You know, what are we going to do? Win games 5-4, 6-5? That's what it feels like this team is. Just go out there and outscore them.
Do you think there's any chance that he could go for it at the back against the bigger teams?
He could do it and then have the extra midfielder. But this is Southgate we're talking about here. You know, I
don't even think he's got the wing backs for it though, is he really? Like Trippier and Walker are like 34, you know, 33, 34.
Yeah,
that's the other thing for me, mate. Like, don't get me wrong, Walker deserves to be in the squad all day long, but we're talking about players that are like the back end of the careers playing fullback, which is supposed to be the most energetic role at the moment in the game. Like, you're the inverting, the bombing up and down, and I totally agree. I think it's a bit kind of deflating, and I'm not so sure how we're doing this tournament. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. I just got no idea what he's looking at in terms of how they're going to play and all that kind of stuff. And the other thing that does worry me, is that I can't remember the last time we played our first 11.
I mean, like the other day, they played players that aren't even going to be going.
Apparently, he was going to play Rupp Anderson tomorrow.
2 weeks before the tournament starts, you're playing players you're not even going to take on the plane. There's no way he didn't know. It was 5 days ago that he wasn't going to take those players. So that's what also disinterests me from it, because you never know what you're going to get. I know there's a lot of very good players in there, especially in the attacking sense, and it's not possible to play them all at the same time. As much as we'd all just love to have them all on the pitch. And I just don't think they manage very good players. He manages, like Foden didn't even play in the last Euros, really, did he? He only played in the semi-final. So it's just, I don't think he knows himself.
Well, we got a natural left winger
on the day, or what he's had previously that the experience is gonna drag him through, and that's why I was more surprised he didn't choose Harry Maguire. I think that would have been a very safe option. So fair play to him for that, because in other times he definitely would have taken him. We all know that. So I thought that was a big, quite a bold move. And now they come out saying, "Oh yeah, I have been carrying a bit of an injury." Like, all right, but you've been training with them all and been in camp, haven't you? But it's just as I said earlier, it's all just a bit odd, I think, at the moment with the men's team.
Yeah, I was just thinking as well, like we're talking about left back, but have we even got a natural left winger? And I think the only person who actually plays that is Anthony Gordon, isn't it? If I'm being totally honest, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because it's always been Saka or Foden on the right, where actually you expect Saka and Foden to play in the same team this time around. The only player that I am actually looking forward to see is Eze in that team, because I think he's got a little bit about him where I think he can conjure up a little bit of magic, but whether he gets I think he will get the opportunity. I think he's one of them players that will actually get the opportunity, but yeah, I think only time can tell now, and we'll just have to see how it kind of pans out. Before I hand back over to you, G, just a little bit of announcement on the old Euros. We are going to try and make it as exciting as possible, so there will be a show each week. So me and Jonesy will be doing a Euro show once a week throughout the Euros, starting next week. So that will start next Thursday night, and we'll obviously review, not just the England team, but review all round the other nations, which we look forward to do. So yeah, the show, obviously this is the end of the season for us here, but yeah, it's not the end of the season for the channel, and we will be doing this on Ryan's channel starting from next week onwards for up till the end of the Euros.
Nice, lovely stuff. But yeah, I think that pretty much rounds everything up quite nicely. Obviously, from this show, we're going to take a bit of a break as things naturally slow down while the summer tournaments kick in and pre-season. So we'll be back hopefully at some point in July, but obviously on the socials we'll let you all know about that. But yeah, first of all, Liam, thank you for joining, and it's been a pleasure these last couple of months.
Yeah, no, thank you as well for joining me. It's not as easy as part with me, but but yeah, no, thank you. Sorry, guys. Thank you to everyone who comes on the show. Thank you to everyone who joins us, who's obviously participated in terms of obviously being guests and all that. Obviously, some really positive news as well from last week that I just want to add. Obviously, spoke to Andrew after the show, and he wants to be a lot more part of it next year, which I think is really positive news as well. So, yeah, definitely doing some good things, and it was nice to know that he really wants to be a part of it next season.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure to have him on as well, and looking forward to that next season as well. Jonesy, thank you as always for your help and guest appearing quite a lot with us.
No, thank you guys for having me on, and well done to you two taking on the show. It's been brilliant. But thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak.
No worries, always welcome. Bez, thank you as well. I hope you've enjoyed being with us most weeks.
I enjoyed every single second of it. I enjoyed it just being myself and just being able to talk freely about this lovely team that's Arsenal. And now, obviously, hopefully next year we do our bits, both ladies and the men, we do our bits and push up for bigger things.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Lottie, thank you so much for joining us as well. If you want to give a little shout out to your channel and pod as well.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I always enjoy coming and joining you guys when I can. Obviously, I'm pre-recording my pod when you guys are, well, Actually, I've just come out of it, or I'm running over my usual time when you guys go live. Yeah, no, you can find me on Vic Acres Wonderland. We are doing our final wrap up of this season. That should be dropping tomorrow. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, and that is Vic Acres Wonderland.
Amazing. Yeah. And obviously, just to round up, thank you to everyone that's been in the comments for the past couple of shows and tonight as well. It's always amazing for your feedback and interactions through the shows. It goes a long way. And obviously, thank you to Ryan for giving us the platform to have the show. It's been a blast. But yeah, that is pretty much everything for this season. Obviously, bitter ending for both in the end, but we'll push on next season. We'll be back kicking, ready to go again. We'll see you in the summer. Good night.
Good night all.
Good night.